आसमान में सुराख नहीं हो सकता. Smriti Irani tweeted these lines by poet Dushyant Kumar after winning Amethi in 2019 Lok Sabha elections. Today, at Vibes of India, we will be discussing the Smriti Irani story and why she won Amethi with author Kartikeya Tanna. This is Kartikeya's latest book, which talks about Smriti Irani's journey, starting from TV serial Kyunki Saas Bhi Kabhi Bahu Thi, to being a daughter, a mother, and finally being a powerhouse politician in a male-dominated nation. Welcome, Kartikeya, to Vibes of India.
Thank you.
To start with, tell us what made you choose this incredible subject for your book?
Well, you answer the question, incredible. I think, no matter what the political affiliation, what she achieved in Amethi, which was a Nehru-Gandhi family bastion. No Nehru-Gandhi family member had lost in Amethi except Sanjay Gandhi during the Indira Gandhi, during the nationwide agitation against Indira Gandhi. That was the only time. Otherwise, heavyweights like, Bahujan Nayak, Kashi Ram, Rajmohan Gandhi, Gandhiji's grandson, Sharad Yadav, they were all lost huge in Amethi. But she won. And also, not just that she contested the first time and she won, but she contested the first time in 2014.
Yeah, and then in 2019.
And she lost, but she persisted. She kept visiting Amethi, even though Amethi was neither her constituency, of course, nor it was one of the villages that she chose under, the Adarsh Sansad Gram Yojana. So that, I think, fascinated me, that why would a politician who loses, we hear of stories where winning politicians don't often visit their constituency. But why is this losing politician visiting that? I mean, was she told that she was going to contest from Amethi in 2019? If not, then why? And I must say this, another reason why, because when she achieved what she did for about 6 months, I would see comments on social media that, oh, Smriti Irani is an inspiration for women. Girls would say that, we look up to you, you're an inspiration for us. Even some men would say that, she's a role model for women. I thought what she has achieved is gender neutral.
Gender neutral. And she also mentions that in her speeches,
So, she's a politician. Let's say, for example, tomorrow you achieve something remarkable in the field of journalism. Should you only be a role model for women? I don't think so. Not, men journalists who want to, who starting in their career, they might look to your, progress and see how you achieved it. Similarly, her story is something that appeals to both men and women.
True.
So I wanted to bring that out as a man, looking from a man's perspective. I wanted to bring that out in a gender neutral way, as gender neutral way as possible.
True. And many a times, Kartikeya, women have to put in extra efforts to be taken seriously, especially if one is coming, say, from a filmy background or from a TV serial background. What do you think really worked for Smriti Irani, or how did she crack that?
I think her number one asset is dignity of labor.
Okay.
First of all, she has a penchant to do hard work, and she puts dignity in that labor. So her party, for example, the BJP, and I'm not trying to praise the BJP, but her party, would send her in Naxalite affected districts, as a mission. And they didn't see whether she was a woman or a man, ek ladki ko, how can we send a woman alone in those areas? And she took on those tasks, without any hesitation. So I think that is what really made her excel and win, this race, and not just in politics. She's achieved successes
in all
fields she has dabbled into. She has achieved stupendous successes. For example, in Kyunki Saas Bhi Kabhi Bahu Thi, for the first year or two, she was paid way less than the male actor. The one who played Mihir, if people remember. And she demanded that, why is my compensation not the same? And the producers,
being a protagonist.
Exactly. And the producer said, well, why don't you prove yourself, and we'll see how the popularity is, and then we'll decide. She's like, okay, fine, I'll do it. So for 1 year, she persisted, she worked hard, and then she again raised this question, okay, now what? And the producers had to give her, and she was paid more than the male actor.
True.
So I think that is, one of and the reason why she's able to do that is not just fortune. Yes, obviously luck has played a role, but fortune favors the brave and the persistent and the one who works hard.
True.
I think that's what the secret of her success is.
And in your book, you also mentioned about the fact where once she said that she will fast till death, if Gujarat, then CM Narendra Modi doesn't resign. And then comes a time where Narendra Modi calls her as like Behen. Yeah.
Yes, I mean, so first,
Yeah.
in just 2 months after that incident, there was a dinner at Sri Advani's residence, and Modi ji was there, Smriti Irani was there. They came out and Modi ji put his hand on Smriti Irani's head and said, "Ye Gujarat ki beti hai."
Beti hai, yeah.
Now, how did that change happen? Obviously, I explain in the book, so please buy the book. But yes, that was a mistake that she has recognized on her part. She was probably misled by media reports at that time, which were heavily one-sided, heavily against. They had almost concluded that it was Modi who engineered all of this. It seems like she got swayed by that, and also there was perhaps some rebellion within the BJP itself, where some sections of the BJP probably held Mr. Modi responsible for why the BJP lost at the center in 2004. Even though his own political stock was rising in Gujarat in 2002. So it seems like all of those factors taken together perhaps prompted her to make that move, which was a mistake, and it was a politically suicidal mistake. But as she herself says, it's Mr. Modi's. He's considered fascist, intolerant, undemocratic, this, that. She's a living example of Mr. Modi's tolerance. That despite doing this, she continued to have incredible positions in her life in the BJP, and many of them at the behest of Mr. Modi.
True. And it is very interesting that in the book you don't just bring out the political side, but also a human side, like what's the DNA of Smriti Irani, or how is she as a person. So the audience also get an insight into her personal life. So tell us something that many people do not know about her, even though she's a public personality.
I mean, one of the main things that strikes anyone who's ever spoken to her is that she does not take herself seriously. So she doesn't have an ego. In that sense, I mean, yes, there are certain situations where, when she's triggered, when someone angers her, her ego does come up. But overall, she's very accessible to many of her supporters. They all vouch for the fact that, yes, we can message her and she'll reply back. She stands up for people who support her. She does not have any airs about herself. Even as an actor, when she was this mega popular star, every household in India probably knew her, and not just in India, but many countries in the world where the show was telecast. I think it's that one quality where she does not put herself in the center of the frame when it comes to her personal lives. She empowers her own children. Similarly, I detail in Amethi how she empowered the people of Amethi rather than being this, superimposing personality, deciding what she wanted to do for Amethi. And I think that's where somewhere people of Amethi saw that, here's someone who's actually caring about our empowerment rather than making us dependent on, the largesse of the government or her generosity.
True.
I think that is her number one quality, which is consistent both in her personal and her professional life.
True. And tell us, Kartikeya, what's the easiest and the toughest part of writing a book on a politician who is so powerful and so successful?
The toughest part, obviously, is that, when you write about something as stupendous a victory as Amethi, is to, try to be extremely analytical and objective.
Yeah.
That is a tough part, obviously.
Not bring your personal biases, maybe.
Undoubtedly. Not just personal biases, but also, what she's achieved is stupendous. So obviously there's going to be, praises about her, like what made her achieve that. But at the same time, there's a human element to her, where there are weaknesses, there are flaws. She's not a perfect person by any means. So in order to bring that up and to explain that in the context of who this person is who actually dared to pick up that throne and pierce the skies, the easiest part, again, if you're politically aware, like I have been politically aware since several years now. So for me, a lot of the material surrounding her growth in the BJP, and also because she'd been a Rajya Sabha member from Gujarat. So I'd followed that, Gujarat being my home state. So I knew many portions, many aspects of her life, her story. So for me, it wasn't, to get those facts wasn't difficult. Obviously, I had to corroborate it, make sure that, what was reported in the media was actually what happened. Corroborate from her at times, corroborate from other people to make sure that nothing in this is inaccurate. But I think it was easy for me to recount all the facts, and it was tough for me to actually create the whole book from an objective lens, so that even someone who does not like the BJP at all,
and there are also many, be interested in.
There are many who don't like the BJP. I think this is a story, and
which would appeal to.
You may or may not read my book. It's fine, but her life is a story that should inspire and motivate any political worker, no matter what the party affiliation.
True.
That how to win elections despite all odds.
Yeah.
You might be from AAP, you might be from Congress,
irrespective of the party.
Any party.
Yeah,
yes.
True.
So I think I've tried to do that, and I hope I've been successful with that. I mean, reviews and feedback will say that.
Yeah. And Kartikeya, like winning Amethi was like the crescendo, was like the landmark of her career. But while writing the book, what was the aspect of her career, her journey that really inspired you or really made a whole lot of difference in her career?
I think it might be a little bit of repetition, but her penchant to do hard work, but also her tenacity to pick fights that not many would want to pick.
Yeah.
See, today if any
being
political
very outspoken, right?
Exactly. Like, and also any political party wants to, let's say, give a ticket to someone to contest against Mr. Modi in Varanasi. The candidate, at least half of them, if not more, would think twice that, nay, this is a difficult constituency, why am I being sacrificed? True. With her, she's been given these tough battles. In 2004, 1 year into the BJP, she contested against Kapil Sibal, a heavyweight of the Congress, in Chandni Chowk. And she lost. She miserably lost. But she didn't shy away from that fight. So I think her tenacity to stare at the most difficult challenge in its eye and do whatever she can, whatever her capacity is, I think that is consistent throughout her life. When she decided at the age of 17 or 18 in her late teens that she wants to go to Mumbai and pursue a career in the field of media and entertainment, where her parents knew no one. So she had to literally make a mark on her own. And, at that age, I mean, for example, I was still, under shadows, in a sense that, but for her to be able to do that as a woman in Mumbai, which is not a very, helpful city, at least in that profession, I think that required tremendous guts. And I think her courage is something that any person, man or woman, can, take home. That, why is it that she doesn't have that fear of failure, which also I explain in the book.
Yeah, and in the book, we also mentioned about that incident where she was asked about, like, how do you manage to place multiple roles, being a mother, daughter, wife? And she says that she's ready to take on more roles. And
not just that, her response of late has been that, why is this same question not asked to a man who just became a father? So I think that, and when you think about it, it's not a, very feminist stance. It's a common sense stand that, okay, yes, why don't you ask a person who's become a dad? But I think her, she just, she was asked in 2001 that, okay, you are this wildly popular star. You are a wife, you are a mother.
Yeah.
How long can you continue these roles? And she's like, no, I might add more to them. And she added politician, she added all kinds of, multiple roles. And I think it's because in her life, she saw every opportunity as a success in itself. That because I got this opportunity, that's my success. Now I have to work hard and whatever happens is a bonus, but I have, and she often says, how many people get the opportunity to have so many opportunities?
True.
And if you think about that, then opportunity in itself becomes, a reward in a sense. And, if you think about it, today her age is 46. I mean, we're not supposed to say a woman's age, but I mean, she's a public figure, so we all know. She's 46. Next year, she's going to have 20 years in politics.
Yeah, which is commendable.
And in politics, there are people who join at the age of 50 or 55 or 60.
And vanish by.
Yeah, but she at least has 30 more years or at least 25 more years, in that sense. She's still young, relatively speaking, but experience in terms of, how many years she's put in.
So there's a lot more to come.
There's a lot more to come. Hopefully, if she wants. I mean, if she doesn't want, then, that's her
another
choice.
Story. And like every person has a grey side, and when it comes to Smriti Irani also, like her statement during Rohit Vemula's suicide, or the thing about her education, like formal qualification, there's so many controversies in which she is attached to. What do you have to say about all of that? And they're mentioned in the book, or the absence of it.
I mean, 100% she's a target because she dared to challenge the unchallengeable.
Okay.
When you challenge the Gandhi family in politics, it's akin to, challenging those who cannot be challenged. So the moment she did that, she was in the public eye. So obviously attacks on her, were bound to happen. whichever attack is justified or not, that's a matter of going out into each specific issue. There are facts on her side as well, which she has presented. So of course, and I think she has always said this, if you can't stand the heat, get out of the kitchen. So she has had heat directed towards her, and I think she has dealt with it fairly well. I mean, obviously, she's human after all. There are times when she does get affected by it. It does trigger within her, certain emotions, certain defense mechanism, which I also mentioned in the book. That it's not like she is able to handle every criticism thrown her way in a calm way. Yes, she gets flustered, and you can see that in her public reactions. But I think her strength is that after the storm settles down, she is able to convert that energy generated within because of that trigger into this even more persistence.
Yeah, she would come out stronger
on what she wants to achieve. She's like, I will show that when you challenge me, when you question my intellect, I will show you twice. What I'm capable of. I think so my advice is to anyone who wants to defeat her or make sure that she doesn't win, the first rule is do not provoke her.
Yeah, that's the best advice,
Yes.
Great. So Kartikeya, many congratulations on your book. The book is now available on Amazon.
Yes.
And for more such interviews, for more such interactions, keep watching Vibes of India. Thank you.